VigilanteWilliamson here with a very simple question, and that is, how is the Colts season going to go? To be honest, I don't know, but I am going to prognosticate, do the best that I can as just a normal man, as I'm doing with all 32 teams. We're in the AFC South, and the Colts are a very interesting team. As I'll probably say in all these videos, there's a lot of interesting teams in the AFC South. There's a lot of different stories that show you these teams won't be the pushovers they were last year. I have blamed the AFC South for inflating the NFC North because they were matched up in divisions, and the NFC North got a lot of wins off the AFC South. So I've been putting a lot of blame, but I actually think the AFC South is actually going to have a better year. Still may only have one playoff team, but if there is another team that maybe make the playoffs, maybe, just maybe, the Colts. So it looks like the Anthony Richardson story / experiment is coming to the end, and they may have to go to Danny Dimes. Now, a lot has been made about Daniel Jones, rightfully so. There has been a lot of, well, we were bad at managing talent. We let Saquon go because we didn't even try to negotiate or didn't even try to give Daniel Jones anything. We just gave him fair market value at quarterback, and this is what quarterback's worth. So because he failed on our miserable franchise, he bad quarterback. And the Giants and the media have just told everybody on earth that Daniel Jones is the problem. He's a terrible quarterback. Not that he's maybe mid quarterback, and when he has some talent around him, he plays a little bit better. Not like he actually had a bunch of receivers to throw to in New York. He only had Saquon. And me and my brother remember a game in 2023. I couldn't tell you who it was against. I thought to look it up to try to get it. And I think they ended up losing the game. But Saquon is hurt. So he's not playing that game. And everybody on the Giants is failing. But motherfucking Danny Dimes doesn't give up. He is balling his ass off. He's trying to throw touchdowns. He is trying to will the Giants throughout all their mediocrity and worse to a win. And just, you know what? You can't teach that. That's always stuck out. So while I'm hearing all this slander, and listen, Daniel Jones did throw a lot of picks. He is not a perfect quarterback, right? But I just keep hearing all this slander. And it's like, listen, nobody told you to give him, $40 million, $45 million a year. I don't think he is worth that, right? I think a lot of quarterbacks are overpaid. And because you don't want to test the market, you don't want to test market value, you don't want to be a GM, you don't want to have your big boy pants on, you just say, well, quarterback up for contract, give him big money contract. It's like, well, then you get what you want. You get what you deserve. We'll see what happens with Brock Purdy in the San Francisco 49ers when we get there. But no one told you to give Daniel Jones all that money. Had you given him less and put more talent around him, you would have had a better team. So I say all that to say this. Granted, the Indianapolis Colts are not just totally filled with talent, but you look at their receivers. Alec Pierce had 800 yards on 37 receptions. Michael Pittman Jr. Came off a year in 2023. He had 1,100 plus yards, 800 yards this year. Josh Downs, 800 yards. They had 3 receivers almost go for 1,000 yards with a quarterback that everybody knows can't throw and can barely throw over 50% completion percentage. They got some talent. They just drafted a tight end as well. They got some talent. Also, Jonathan fucking Taylor. There's some talent here on offense. There's a lot of talent here on offense, and they weren't the best defense. I'll give you that. Not a good rushing defense yard-wise. Not a good passing defense yard-wise. They're a solid rushing defense per attempt-wise. 8th in rushing attempts given up, and actually also 8, ironically enough, in rushing attempts offensively. So they run the ball and can stop the run per carry better than most teams. They get a lot of takeaways as a defense. Maybe that passing defense, if they don't have to give the ball up on 3rd down every time, maybe they can be a little bit better. Maybe mid-quarterback play is all they need. I mean, when you look at 3 receivers almost going for 800 with a terrible throwing quarterback, and a good running back and we'll see how the tight end is. He's a rookie, but everyone expects him to be an elite tight end. And that's talking again about Tyler Warren out of Penn State. A lot of people thought he was their pick, either him or Loveland out of Michigan, and they both were pretty high tight ends. They got some help at DE as far as the draft. As far as JT, I don't want to mess up his name, Tuimoloau. We'll see how that goes. They got some help at corner in the draft. Got some help at tackle because they did lose some of their linemen in free agency. I think they lost their center in free agency to the Vikings, if I remember correctly. So they are getting some help from the draft. It's all going to be about Daniel Jones, though, if we're honest, right? Is Daniel Jones going to be a good guy stats-wise, production-wise? He's going to have better receivers than he's had. He's going to have not a better running back. Obviously, he had Saquon, but at least a better running back than he had the year previously. I can't help but to think that the Giants blame their incompetence of a franchise, their franchise incompetence on Daniel Jones. I'm not saying he's going to come up and have 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns, but he could game manage. If the receivers are going to even equal that production, if not do more, he can game manage them to a respectable record. So I didn't say TLDR because I didn't know what to say. There's a part of me that wants, I'm going to just say it, 10-7. There, I said it. I'm being shocking. I picked the Colts to go to the playoffs at 10-7. I don't think they're going to win the division. I still think the Texans are going to get 12 or more wins and win the division. But I'm going ballsy. I think Daniel Jones was done dirty by the Giants and been done dirty by the media. He's got a good team around him, or at least a decent team around him offensively. Defensively, they're solid. Not the best, not perfect, but I think they're good enough to get 10 wins. The schedule, the AFC South doesn't have the toughest schedule. They're still going to have some teams. So you got the Dolphins, Broncos are going to be a tough team. Make no mistake about it. Titans, obviously, in the division. Got to talk about the Titans. I have a lot of thoughts about them. We'll get there. Rams are going to be tough. Raiders, I think, will be improved. Cardinals, they are a coin flip, but they got a lot of talent. The Cardinals, no guaranteed win. Chargers definitely aren't no guaranteed win. So this is a tough schedule to get 10 wins out of. They got to be a solid team. Steelers, Chiefs, Falcons could go either way. They have a second-year starter, but really first-year starter with Penix. Texans, who I think are going to dominate this division. Jags, who I don't think are going to be as good. I mean, I think they'll still be solid-ish. But I'm expecting the Colts to be better than the Jags. Seahawks, expect the Colts to be better than them. 49ers, I don't want to get there. I'll get there when I get there, but I got some thoughts on them. So this is a schedule. It's a schedule with some real teams on it. Some team. No, it's not going to be easy, but I just feel like so many people have shit on Danny Dimes. I feel like there's more there, and I could be wrong. And he's also had his injury issues. We know Anthony Richardson is not going to play because of his injury issues. It's very easy. Listen, part of me, if I was just being safe, I would say 7 or 8 wins. I may even say 6 and 11. But I just feel like this is a 10-win team, especially because of that receiving core plus tight end plus Jonathan Taylor Thomas. No more 90s references in these videos. No more 90s references. At least I'll try not to. But I look at the talent and I'm just like, man, I don't know, man. It looks like a lot of offensive talent that if they just had a decent quarterback, they could put up a lot more production. Now, you could worry about Jonathan Taylor and say, hey, he did have 300 plus carries last year, and maybe that's too many. I can understand that. Again, the defense wasn't perfect. They were solid-ish. Gave up a lot of passing yards, but they were also on the field quite a bit. You know what I mean? They weren't the best time of possession team. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's hard to gauge teams like this, right? It's very easy to just go with everyone else. Be simple. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to go 10-7. Somebody else is going to have to challenge the Texans for this division. I don't think they'll win the division. I think the Texans still will. But somebody else has to be a team that means something. And listen, the Titans have reason to think they could be a lot better because they had a pretty good yardage defense. And then the Jags have a good reason to think that they could be a lot better. But I'm going with the Colts as the second team in this division. I do understand that is it Alec Pierce, one of these receivers? Yeah, it is. Alec Pierce, who's one of the receivers, he got 800 yards on 37 catches, which is nuts. 7 touchdowns, the best yards per reception in the league, and he's won the contract. So they do have that issue. Maybe that becomes an issue. But if they can keep everybody together, keep everybody signed, and get this receiver core a really good quarterback, and if Daniel Jones, say what you want about him, he's at least pretty accurate. You know what I mean? He's not the best quarterback ever. And I know accuracy has gone up a lot, but I mean, he's still going to be a lot more accurate than what you're getting from Anthony Richardson. I got reason to think that they're going to be a lot better. I believe in Daniel Jones. I don't know why. I just feel like I just hate that the Giants were just throwing it's all his fault. It's all this guy's fault. Everybody and their mom told you to keep Saquon, but because you're an idiot, it's his fault. Like, I just don't buy that. And I also think the Colts did the thing where you have a quarterback for years and he needs help around him, and you don't really put that help around him, and then when he retires, that's when you finally get a good franchise. I don't know any franchise that's ever done that with, you get a lot better after you have your franchise quarterback for years and years and years, and they go win a Super Bowl, and then you finally improve. But anyways, we're not talking about the Lions. We're talking about the Colts. 10 wins. I'm being bold. Fortune favors the bold. Wouldn't shock me if they're only a 6-11 team. But I'm picking 10 wins. Why the fuck not? What do you think about the Colts? What do you think about the NFC South? You tell me. Peace.